Hey, check it. Put the place up.
Hello and welcome to the Bear Down Breakdown here on Sports Tree Ltd. Folks, I'm Connor Roundtree and I am jacked up to give you our Super Bowl show. But before we can get into the football, we have to give a quick shout out and a tip of the cap to all the ladies out there. Today is National Girls and Women in Sports Day. So to all the girls competing out there, we wish you good luck. And remember, tune into the Monday morning wrap for the NWHL breakdown of all the playoffs happening this week. Semifinals going Thursday and the finals happening on Friday. But if we want to talk some football, we have to talk about Sarah Thomas, the first ever woman that will officiate a Super Bowl game on Sunday. Now, let's preview this matchup. It's the Kansas City Chiefs defending their Super Bowl against Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Does that feel weird to say yet? Well, it shouldn't, because Tom Brady has some unbelievable Super Bowl statistics. The first statistic is 50%. Sunday, February 7th marks Brady's 10th Super Bowl appearance. In other words, since his first start in 2001 for the Patriots, a span that includes a season that he missed entirely due to injury, Brady has appeared in half of the Super Bowls since his first game. He has appeared in one of every 2 title games for the entirety of his career to date. Another crazy statistic is 315. Tom Brady has averaged 315 yards per game in the Super Bowl. He's accumulated over 2,838 yards through the air, as we said, for an average of 315 yards per game in Super Bowls, and that's going to be important for our projections. Now we're going to jump into each team's offensive skill positions and see who has the advantage at each position, starting with the quarterbacks. And we have to start this off with Patrick Mahomes. In Week 12, he went off against the Buccaneers, throwing 49 times for over 460 yards. That week, the Chiefs threw the ball a season high 83% of the time. And expect that trend to continue. Kansas City's O-line is banged up, and Mahomes, well, he has a toe injury. So instead of him tucking the ball and running, look for him to release the ball quickly and get it out of his hands to his playmaking receivers. In that Week 12 matchup, Tom Brady threw for a modest 345 yards and 3 touchdowns. The key here will be limiting the turnovers, and as we said, he averages 315 yards passing per game in the Super Bowl. So look for Tom Brady to be in full control. And the Kansas City Chiefs, well, they have the worst red zone defense in the NFL. So look for Tampa Tom to lead his boys and go off. While the leadership advantage clearly lies with Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, the skill and playmaking ability is there for Patrick Mahomes, but he does have that toe injury, as we said. So for the quarterbacks, with all things considered, I give this an even level playing field. Moving into the running backs, though, it is all about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Leonard Fournette is getting going. He outsnapped Ronald Jones last week 44-18, and Ronald Jones was apparently fully healthy. Playoff Lenny is much more of a diverse back, and he can catch out of the backfield. He was targeted 7 times last week to Ronald Jones' 0 targets. So look for Leonard Fournette to be extremely effective out of the backfield. We saw Tom Brady make careers for running backs out of the backfield like Rex Burkhead, James White, those kind of players in New England. That is Tom Brady's bread and butter. As for the Kansas City run game, well, they're in very tough. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers possess the #1 rush defense in the NFL, so I don't expect a lot of north-south running from Kansas City, but they do have Andy Reid, that mad scientist. Woo, baby, look for him to call a cheeky play or two to get his skill positions to the outside and try to lock down the edge. The Buccaneers have the clear advantage in the rushing game. Moving into the tight ends, well, that is clearly Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce, since the Week 11 bye, has averaged 109 receiving yards per game and a touchdown. That's across 8 games. That's absolutely absurd. And he's seen at least 10 targets in 9 out of his last 10 games. Playoff Gronk is back, and he is cooking in Tampa Bay. Last week, he ran 23 routes to Cameron Brate's 13. Look for both of them to be targets in the red zone because of their big bodies, as we said, and how poor Kansas City's red zone defense is. But Rob Gronkowski has made a career against 2 high defenses like Kansas City. Case in point, Week 12, he had 6 grabs for over 100 yards in that game. So look for Rob Gronkowski to be extremely effective. But as far as the tight end advantage goes, we have to give that to Travis Kelce and the Kansas City Chiefs. As for the wide receivers, we're talking depth, and more depth for both teams. And we're going to start off things by looking at Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill went nuclear. He went to the moon like GameStop in Week 12 against the Buccaneers. He caught 12 passes for 260 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's absurd. So look for him to have a huge game because the Buccaneers simply don't have the speed at defensive back to lock him down and Travis Kelce. As for the Buccaneers, well, they have Mike Evans, and Mike Evans has had to deal with the lockdown coverage that the Saints and Jair Alexander present in back-to-back weeks. In his first playoff performance, though, against Washington, he went off for over 100 yards, so I like him to have a big Super Bowl. And then the X factor is Chris Godwin. Godwin is averaging over 72 yards in his last 7 games, and out of the slot this week, I like him to have an absolutely huge Super Bowl. And don't count out Scotty Miller and Antonio Brown. Remember, Scotty Miller caught that deep ball for a touchdown in their last game. Going through all those individual matchups and factors, I have to lean towards Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's this simple. If Tom Brady wins this game, he is the greatest athlete in all sports of all time. It is truly that simple. This would be like if Michael Jordan were to have taken the Washington Wizards to a final. Tom Brady has been doing this for over 20 years and is in his 10th Super Bowl appearance. Absolutely absurd. So we're taking the Buccaneers on Sports Tree LTD. I like them to cover the 3 points, and I like them to win this game. And make sure you take the over of 56. As we said, the Kansas City Chiefs, they can score at will. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will, under Tom Brady's leadership and the lack of defensive presence that Kansas City has in the red zone, look for them to put up big numbers as well. If you want to make Super Bowl 55 a little more live, play our Super Bowl prop party with us here at Sports Tree LTD. This form will be printed to our features page on our sports blog. So all you have to do is go on, print it off, and play with your families and friends from home or across the internet in safety. Here are your prop party rules. It's a point scoring system. Each prop bet ranges from 1 to 10 in points. Point values are based on said category's importance to the outcome of the game. The highest point total wins. Circle your selections and, of course, submit before kickoff. Our first category is the national anthem. For 1 point, will it be over or under 90 seconds? Also for a point, call the coin toss. The first team to score is worth 3 points. First team to force a turnover is worth another 3 points. The first touchdown scored is worth 5, and the team leading at halftime is 7. Will the Weeknd play Blinding Lights for 1 point? Will the Weeknd have any pyrotechnics for a single point? And will the Weeknd change his outfit for a single point? The most passing yards of the game, you can either take Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes. Most rushing yards between the Chiefs and the Buccaneers. The turnover battle. What team will force the most turnovers? The over-under in total combined yards of 825.5 yards. Total combined points of 56. It's the most touchdowns scored. The most field goals scored. Will there be overtime? Your Super Bowl champions. And will Tom Brady win the Super Bowl 55 MVP? I'm so excited I could dance in the studio right now, but instead of doing that kind of dance, we're going to play our MKF play of the day, and we're going to look at the touchdown dance. $10,000. If all 3 of your players score a touchdown on Monkey Knife Fight that you select, you're in to win your share of $10,000. The first guy that we have to select is Tyreek Hill. He scored 3 touchdowns against the Buccaneers, as we said, going for over 260 yards. Our next player is Travis Kelce. He's averaging 109 yards per game since the Kansas City bye and a touchdown scored across 8 games. That's pretty good. And our final pick is playoff Rob Gronkowski. Rob Gronkowski had 6 catches for over 106 yards against Kansas City, and he always performs when the lights are the brightest. As for our trivia question in this, our Bear Down Breakdown Super Bowl show, we already mentioned it earlier in the episode. How many yards has Tom Brady passed for in Super Bowls? Just the Super Bowl, how many yards? We mentioned it earlier, so just go back, watch again. Head over to Sports Tree and answer the question. Remember, an upgrade in your subscription is an upgrade in your chance to win. This is your last trivia question for the NFL tickets. We're doing the draw next week on the Bear Down Breakdown to give NFL tickets away to our grand prize trivia winner. And then second and third place will get some merchandise from us. Folks, make sure you tune in next week for the Bear Down Breakdown. We're taking a break from the Monday morning wrap to calculate all the winners from our playoff bracket. So make sure you tune in and check in to see if you're still in the running to win the playoff bracket. Matthew Neuratlis leads it with 8 points, and there's 3 points on the line and the tiebreaker for the Super Bowl. So make sure you check that out. Folks, thank you so much for joining us on this Super Bowl show here on Bear Down Breakdown. I'm Connor Roundtree. Thank you for joining this episode on Sports Tree LTD.
Hey, check it. Put the place up.